Yes.
It is recording already, but I think people still coming in. Let me just open.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think we're recording right now, so maybe Desiree, can you confirm?
Yes,
Yes,
it is
we're recording.
Okay, thank you.
Is everybody here?
All the people I count.
Okay, so everybody has access to the 8 teams, right? And if you don't, I think I can give access, or maybe this Denise, are you the only one that can give access, or can I give access?
I think me and the VP's assistants can give access.
Okay, so if you don't, I'm sorry, if you don't have access, just email Denise, okay? But I think if when somebody new comes in, they should have access. So what I did yesterday is I just added the presentations here. Instead of making it bigger, I just added the contract transmittal presentation in your folder. So that's the one that that we're gonna go through right now. And if I go back to the NC approval flow files, I added the Adobe Sign training as well. And for the budget presentation, we have budget and purchasing here. And I added the budget and Galaxy training. So all the documents are gonna be here for you to use and refer back in a later time, okay? I think we still have people coming in. So I'm gonna start with the forms. And this is just something that I wanted to show you quickly, because I know at the beginning it was difficult for us to download the form. So depending on what type of contract you have, we have different approval processes. If we have a contract for goods and services that is over 99,100, we fill out this form. And if it's under 99,100, we fill out the other form. So usually, is this the one that we use? And this is routed, most of the time, this will require the president's signature. Okay. Should I wait one more minute? People still coming in.
Yeah, maybe we can give it one more minute.
Okay, it's Friday.
Esmeralda, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So if we have a contract that's already been sent to the contract's email so that they can look it over and make sure everything looks okay, once that is done, is this the next step in the process? We fill out one of these forms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'll go through that in detail, okay? But the first thing is, and I know that when I receive AC Transmittals, if I just download it on my email, it's difficult for me to make changes. So when you get it, you can download the folder or the file. And what I normally do is I go to my, can you see my documents folder?
We see your A teams.
Yeah.
So the documents folder that is, you probably have it at the bottom of your screen. And then you just open that and go to downloads. And you should have the contract there. So,
Okay.
so when you have it here, what I'm trying to say is if you just open it on your email, you're not gonna see the attachments and you won't be able to make changes. So it's important that you open it in your computer. And one way of doing it without saving it to your computer is just going to your folders
Mhm.
and click on downloads.
Okay.
Okay, so when you open this, the form is ready for you to make changes and add any attachments. So when you, if you're gonna add anything, which you will, it's an AC transmittal, just click on that and then you can go to anywhere in your computer or even on OneDrive, or if you have access to your shared drive from here, you can also add documents from there.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Esmeralda, I think we're good now. We have 20 participants.
Okay. So, okay, that was the first step. When you make changes, you can save it to your computer and then you can send it forward for signatures. Okay. So now let me go back to the presentation. Okay. And as I told you, this is in there. You can access it at any time. It is important to understand this is not for you to collect signatures. This is pretty much to put a packet together for the contract that you're sending forward. So as I show you, you can add all the agreements that you need, and you cannot use Adobe Sign to get signatures on this AC transmittal. So you will have to send it via email. Okay. And of course, do not combine the contract with any transmittal documents. We want you to sign only the contract, not the whole thing. So we're using Adobe Sign, but not for the whole packet, just for the contract part. And normally you will have to ask, you can ask the vendor to give you a signature via Adobe Sign and route it that way, or you can just send it to the vendor, have the signature added, and then attach it to the AC transmittal form.
I have a question, Esmeralda.
Go ahead.
So this is at the beginning of the process, right? You want to make sure that we attach the contract and make sure that it's signed by the vendor.
Yes.
What
And,
if the vendor? Okay.
let me go through that. I have the process here that I'm gonna go through that. I've already told you about the 99,100 and all that,
Yeah.
right? So in how to download it, save it, and then you move forward. So let me just go through that. And this is the form that I had in the presentation. This is the old form. We update the form to read 99,100 already, and it's on the 8 teams, as well in the Adobe Sign teams site as well. Okay, so here are all the instructions. The form has the instructions or the requirements, I will say. What is it that you need for the type of form that you need? So just make sure you look at the instructions I think it's in the 3rd page, okay, of the form. So before you even start creating an AC transmittal, please look at the quote and see if it has any terms and conditions. So if it's only terms and conditions about payment, that the payment needs to be received in 30 days or 45 days, most of the time the vendor will not have an issue in just getting a purchase requisition or a purchase order. But if even if it has, sometimes even if it has terms and conditions, you can call the vendor and ask them if they're okay with just a purchase order instead of a written contract. Okay, and there will be some vendors that will say, yes, I'm fine. And they have worked with the district and they know that you don't need to do an AC transmittal every time you do a requisition or you renew your contract. A purchase order is a legal agreement. You're gonna, by the district issuing a purchase order, you're telling them that you're gonna pay them and after we receive whatever we're buying from them. It could be services or goods, okay? So that's the first thing before we start doing anything. So after they say, no, really, I need to have a contract. I cannot let it go. Usually, if it's like a 3-page terms and conditions, most of the time you're gonna have to do an AC transmittal. So when you're processing less than 99,100, and this is what Marta was talking about, first of all, you make sure you have funds in your budget, okay? Then you get the agreement from the vendor, and you send this agreement to contracts review for clarification of insurance requirement and for review, of course. After they send you back the agreement, then you get the signature from the vendor and any required insurance. You enter and type a requisition in Galaxy. Again, when you put it in, make sure your account is correct. There is budget in the account and the approvals are correct. And we have to go back. Unfortunately, we have to go back to Galaxy to check that everybody has signed. When the packet gets to budget, they get the packet, but then your requisition is not approved or it has mistakes, they won't finalize it. They have to have one to finish the other. So it's very important that we start by looking at the funding and the correct account and all that information before we put it through. And remember, it has to be an A requisition. So you complete the form, you attach all the required documents, and then you send it through the approval process. The form itself will tell you where you go next. So you start by the initiating department, then you go to the to business services and to the area VP of business services. Actually, it's me, then area VP, then VP of business services. And then the president's office, and the form has everything specified, but the next slide will show you how to go in more detail, okay? And I put it here, see next slide, so we can really look at that. It's very important because if we don't do that, unfortunately, we don't have a software right now to track the AC transmittal. So they go via email, and if we don't send reminders or we're not on top of it, then they don't move forward, okay? That's the way it is at this point. When the contract number is issued or the PO is issued, purchasing will send the contract to the vendor. Still, the department will have to call the vendor to make sure that they either deliver the goods, but most of the time is if they're goods, they will send them to the warehouse, right? You don't have to do anything. It's important not to duplicate the process. The purchasing will send it to the vendor, and then the department will contact the vendor to arrange for any jobs that are pending. So again, after everything is done, the initiating department will have to make sure that the invoice is paid, okay? And also here, number 10, keep monitoring your budget in Galaxy to see if the payment took place, or else you follow up with accounts payable, or at this point with accounts payable. So the process is the same for 99 100 pretty much. The difference is that the ones that are over 99,100 will get or will need a board report to be prepared. I will advise you to work with Denise to have this done. And after this is done, it has to be attached to the AC transmittal. It might not be done at this time, so you work with Denise on this step. And whenever the board approves, the document is attached again at the district office. So that's the only difference from here to here. But you follow the same steps, and after it goes to number 9, okay, the district has an internal process on how to get the board the report, attach it to the AC transmittal, get signatures from the VP of Business Services, and send it to purchasing. So we will get a PO. Here, as you can see, I just did number 7. Number 7 here, it's here. So this is the approval process that you follow. Okay, and same thing for more than 99,100. So I'm not gonna repeat that because this is also on the form, but you can go back if you have questions, okay? But it's more detailed in here. Okay, so again, budget office will not approve the contract if the requisition in Galaxy is not correct, if it has the wrong GL account, if we don't have enough funds, or the approvals are not completed. So it's very important that we keep going back or have a daily reminder maybe in your calendar until we get it done. That's it. Oh, sorry. This is the other one, the final. You can go back to Galaxy and check if they gave you a purchase order, or follow up with purchasing to get a PO, find out if they have any questions or anything. Sometimes they will put notes on the requisitions. Unfortunately, Galaxy will not send us an email or telling us that you need to go back and check. Okay, so we have to go back and make sure that we're getting our POs. And also, we cannot initiate any work without a contract or a purchase order. Any questions on this?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So my question is, does the contracts review, do they tell us when we need insurance or not? Do they specify that in the email? It's a little confusing sometimes. I don't know when I need to provide a proof of insurance or when I don't. So that's one of the problems that I have, that I just don't know. So I was wondering if contracts review they tell us, or how do we know?
So it's the email that we are using right now. It's been monitored by risk management.
Mhm.
So when I will advise, when you send your email, just say, please let me know if this is correct and if any insurance is
needed.
required. So
Okay.
they can tell you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Esmeralda, we also have a question from Jennifer Valencia.
Mhm.
Jennifer, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm here.
You want to pose your question?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, so I asked her. I have a special circumstance where we receive a contract every year. It doesn't have any financial transactions. We're basically receiving a scholarship. For that type of contract, would we be required to do the third option, the district contract transmittal process?
So that's a revenue generating contract, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
technically.
So, yeah. So we don't need an AC transmittal for revenue generating contracts. Only if they are over 500,000 or more, we will need to have an AC transmittal prepared. In this case, the scholarships funds go to colleague, right? They're not board approved.
No,
When you send the contract, it's not board approved. It should go to John pretty much. He will have to put the funds in DataTel, but still we need to have the contract signed. And depending on who the agency is asking the signature of, it could be from the president's office or it could be from the district office.
it usually asks for the president's office, but for the past 2 years, we've had to do the contract transmittal process.
Okay. So the contract transmittal, the way I see it is it keeps everything in one place. So it's better to have it. It's not required by the district, but it helps us to know where things are. So if you continue to do it, that's fine. You can use the less than 99,100 form
Okay,
and route it that way.
okay,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
Marta? Oh,
Yeah, yes, I have a similar question because I also do a lot of contracts that are kind of revenue generating.
mhm.
And so my understanding, my train of thought is if it requires a signature of Dr. Green, that it has to go through the AC transmittal process. Is that accurate?
Yes, I think as a college, I know we had a meeting yesterday with the grants department and budget. And the direction we got is budget does not require if it's less than 500,000.
Mhm.
We can, as I said, it's better for us to do it so we can keep everything in one place.
Yeah.
So I will say, let's keep doing it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Denise?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that it's Dr. Green's request that we continue to route them so that every department that is involved has approved and knows about it before she sees it.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and that's on the next slide, on how we have to route it when you have it in your computer and you have everything attached. So when it gets to the manager approver, we have to look at the attachments, the account. One thing that is very important is the dates. When we fill out the form, the top of the header of the form has the contract dates. And sometimes the form has one date and the contract has a different date. So please go back to the contract and make sure that they match. Okay. Okay, so after the area VP signs or approves the AC transmittal, it goes to the president's office, and Denise will prepare the agreement, just the agreement for a signature or approval from Dr. Green, and she will attach it to the AC transmittal and send it to the district budget analyst. Okay, so, but as it doesn't end there. As I said, it depends on what is the amount of the AC transmittal that we're processing. And sometimes it doesn't, like the Puente one, for example, doesn't need to go to the district because it's not 99,100. I think it was 2,500, but still it requires signature of the district office. So we have to really look at the contract and what it says and where it should go. Okay. And if you have questions, please email me or call me and we can look at it. And that way you can set it up from the beginning, properly from the beginning. Okay. More questions? Any more questions? We're good? Okay. So Maria, the agenda, who's next?
I have the GL.
Okay, do you want me to open the budget?
The presentation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. Or I have it too, Esmeralda. It's up to you if you want me to share it.
No, it's you, Maria. Go ahead.
Okay,
I can
let me go
stop
ahead
sharing.
and share. Okay. This is different. Our last training was, it's kind of nice to see everybody's face. So like Esmeralda says, please have some patience with me. I'm a little getting used to this format now. Okay, so the presentation, I have it up, but you also have it on the A teams, okay, if you ever need to refer back to it. So the next item on our agenda is the GL combination. What do these accounts mean? What, you know, what, so we're gonna go over restricted funding, non-restricted funding. So this is what a GL looks like right here. Let me see if I can move this out, and let me see if I can put a presentation on. Okay, so again, this is what a GL consists of. First is the fund, the school, the resource, the project year, goal, function, and object. So what does Fund 12 mean? Fund 12 means restricted funding, meaning we have that revenue, Norco College has that revenue for a specific purpose. A strong workforce, it could be a grant, it could be a categorical DSPS. So it's a specific revenue, it cannot be spent at the discretion of the college. The school is, you know, the school in charge of that program or that department. And this comes in handy when there is several departments accessing the same grant. For instance, instructional equipment, that is a grant that service different departments. So make sure that if you're buying something for kinesiology department, make sure that that school is kinesiology school. You know, I used to have a boss that said, this GL account should be able to tell the story. So whatever we purchase, anybody can read the account and they should be able to tell the story about what we purchased, why we purchased it, who is it serving, and where did we purchase it from. So think about it this way. If we're gonna have, like I said, we're gonna have something for kinesiology, make sure that's kinesiology school. The resource, if I have a Fund 12, the resource has to be resource 1190. And if it's Fund 11, that's discretionary, then my resource is gonna be 1,000. Project year, most of the time is gonna be 0. Let's say all the time it's gonna be 0. And then the goal, it tells us what are we trying to accomplish with this item that we're purchasing or with this personnel that we're paying, right? So our system is, the goal only has a limit for 4 digits, but the goal is actually 5 digits. So the first digit of your function is the last digit of your goal. Okay, so really like you see it here, the goal is 15010. So it's the first digit of the function. The function object is the grant number, what we call SPPs. So that's how you would know, okay, this one is a lottery. I was talking about instructional equipment, that will be 0075. We know what grant it belongs to. And then the object is what we're buying, what we're paying with this, right? So if we read this is a discretion, it's a restricted account. And then we're buying something for instruction. How do we know it's instruction? Everything before the 5,000s, it's an instructional goal, and everything after the 6,000s, it's a non-instructional goal. So what if I read this, it tells me the story. It tells me I'm buying with discretion, with restricted income, restricted revenue. I'm buying instructional supplies for instructional goal out of this grant lottery. So the objects have to be cohesive with the goal. If I have here an instructional goal, I should have an instructional object here. This is instructional supplies. If I had here 4590, that would not be a good usage. That would not be a good GL account because it wouldn't read correctly with the, not with the instructional goal. If I have an instruction, I'm sorry, go ahead, yes.
Can you go to Galaxy and show us where can I see this account and see what it means? Because there are 2 ways of looking at it, right? I can go to my Curve account, or I can go to Galaxy and see what it means. So can you show us, please?
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, we have more than one school under one grant. You guys already know your schools. I do the STAR, so it's a little shortcut for me to know everything that Norco is school E. All our schools start with E. So I just do E star to bring up everybody who's under NORCO. And because I'm putting in Fund 12, then my resource has to be resource 1190, right? And then I don't know what the first digit of my function is going to be. So I put a / to bring up everybody under this grant, the one that we were just looking on the screen. And then I'm going to do 1,000 to 7,000. And that just means from personnel all the way to services. So here are my objects, my financial summary right here. So if I want to read, what does this mean? Right? Because until we get used to it, this doesn't necessarily tell us the story. So what we can do is we click on it and we click where it says here the tax description. And when we do that, we can read it in plain English. So we know this is restricted general fund. So it's restricted funding. It's this school college resource center. The resource is grants and categories program fund. The project year is always going to be 0. And it's telling us this is a other interdisciplinary studies. So it is a instructional goal. Instructional goal. And it's telling us it's instructional and lottery because it combines the goal with the function. Okay, and then you can see here the object is direct purchase of instructional supplies. So this goal matches up with my other interdisciplinary studies. It's telling me my goal is instruction and my object is instruction. Okay, if I have here a 4590, those two will not match. And so say, for instance, I want to say, okay, well, how many, I'm new to this grant. What do we usually use for this grant? What goals do we use? This is a grant that helps many departments. So if I sort by goals, do you see how it's touching different instructional goals? I have a 0401, 0403. You can see how is supporting a lot of our instructional goals, as you can see, all the way to down here. So 4999, here's when we have now non-instructional goals. So if I do this tax description right now, then you can see how this is Dean of Instruction. So this is not an instructional, we're not teaching with these supplies. And actually, this is good as 0, because if I see here a non-instructional goal, that means this should be a 4590, correct? So this is actually, we have budget there, but we shouldn't be booking anything, and it's good we haven't. Because if I have a non-instructional goal, I should have a non-instructional object. It should be a 4590. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions? I know I cover a lot, but this is very important.
Can I just jump in?
Yes.
On this? So you might say, why is Maria and Esmeralda telling us about this? It's because when we report, you know that funding has restrictions. So lottery funds can be used in the classroom also only. So we want to make sure that we're using the goal, which is the TOPS code that we use to report to the state. So if we buy instructional supplies and we have it under business services, that is not good. Okay, we shouldn't be buying instructional supplies to be used in an office. And that's why it's very important that we understand the difference between instructional and non-instructional. That's for Fund 12 for restricted SPPs. But in Fund 11, we have to meet the 50% law, which was the next slide that Maria had on the presentation. We had to meet the 50% law, which means we have, from every dollar we receive from the state, we have to spend at least 50 cents in the classroom. So when we do the 320 report, quarterly 320 report to the state, we're telling the state that we're okay, we're following the guidelines, and otherwise we get penalized. Okay.
So this is very important, and also your requisitions can get stopped because of that, and so that will delay you to get because of a wrong combination of goal object. So yes, for the state level, the reporting we're doing is incorrect, which is not good, so we have to go back and fix it. But also at the user level, it delays your requisitions, and so that's why this is important. That's why it's part of the presentation. And I know I cover a lot. I want to make sure I pause here and make sure everybody's clear on what an instructional goal means, what an instructional object means, and how those two have to match what a restricted fund means and what a restricted resource means. So does anybody have any questions? Are we good with that? Go ahead, Martha.
My question, can you go back to the Galaxy screen?
Mhm.
That one's, I think that's that one is one of mine. So, so I guess I wanted to know, just as an example, because it is a restricted fund, and you mentioned that when it's a restricted fund, the resource has to be 1190, which it is. The goal right there, which is higher than a
6,000.
right. So that, what does that mean again? I'm sorry, you
Uh,
said rather quickly.
Let me go see if I can open the chart of accounts.
No, Maria, can you just open the tax description there?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Galaxy
that'll
is
work.
easier.
Let me go.
I was gonna
sorry.
make a quick note, like
Okay, so
anything
here.
higher than, okay. So, okay.
So
So
the
that's-
goal here, where
It's lottery. It's that means it's lottery funds, right? Or-
Yeah, the 735 is lottery. The
Yes.
60175 is Dean of Instruction or.
Yes, that's, yeah, right. And then but you mentioned something, Maria, about the object. It's in the
Yes.
correct object.
Yes.
4320, which is instructional. No, is it
So you can
instructional supplies?
see how it says direct purchase instructional supplies.
Yes. So is that just not, is the money in the wrong place? Is that
We
what-
have, yeah, we have it there, but we haven't used it, which is a good thing because we shouldn't use it like this. Because we have instructional supplies here and we have a non-instructional goal.
And it's non-instructional because it's higher, because it's 6017, right?
Yes, it's higher than 6,000. And also if you think about it, the Dean of Instruction, he's not teaching, he's doing administration.
Right, exactly. So, so then my next question would be, what would be an appropriate use, like to move those funds so that we can use, I guess what I'm saying is, are those funds just gonna sit there, or do I need to move them out somewhere else? And if so, what would be the correct object to move them to?
So that will be, go ahead, boss.
It all depends on what the plans are to spend the lottery funds. We use the 4999 when you buy, let's say you buy materials for more than one class. For example, when we buy materials for the instructors at the CRC, we use 4999 because they're gonna come and get the supplies from different disciplines. It's hard for us to keep track that a chemistry teacher came and got 2 markers and things like that. So it's why we use the 4999, but in reality, it should be specified. The more than we can, we should specify it to the subject that they're teaching. So if you're buying materials for the biology lab, then you should be using the biology goal, okay? And chemistry goal and all those instructional goals that you have. If you're buying it for everybody, then you can use the 4999, 4320, but you cannot move it to a 4590 in this case because it's restricted to instructional materials and software.
Okay. I guess, yeah, I understand that. I guess my question was more like, okay, if I know that the object is not correct, what would be, and then let's say I want to use it for, because it's Dean of Instruction funds, right? So let's say I want to use it for, I don't know, but it's restricted. So then that's the thing. So then what objects could I possibly use it for? And I think you mentioned that earlier, Maria, and you glossed over it pretty quickly. What would be an acceptable object? Just like a range.
Yeah,
So,
4320 is 1, 5649 for software.
Yeah.
And we can use it in the library too. And in this case, I know that that maybe you have questions. You say, oh, but the goal for library is not instructional. But the funds are allowable for library purposes as well. And we use the library goal in this case.
Yeah, so library is an exception. So
I think Claudia has her hand up.
Yes.
Claudia?
Hi, so for the Dean of Instruction's instructional account that they can't use because they're not teaching, can we use, would they be able to use that towards supplies for the CRC? Like directly with that account?
Yes.
Okay.
But not directly with that account. It will have to move to an EKA And I'm sorry, what is the CRC?
I don't even know that they have a school.
Yes,
No, I
they
think they
do.
do. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
a
okay.
new
All the
one.
way to the top, Maria. It's in the first, I saw it. It's
And I'm sorry,
EKA.
it's not the CRC or the resource center, it's the inmate education program, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Oh, that email, it's
Oh,
EX.
so the CRC Resource Center is EAK.
EAK.
Yeah, but that's not for you, Melanie. I'm sorry.
I'm getting confused, yeah.
Wrong CRC.
I think it's EXM,
Uh-huh.
the new one. It's EXM.
EXM.
Mhm.
So you can always sort these. Everything here is sortable, okay? So it's
Yeah.
easier to find it like that. So if I go to EXM, I can read it. Okay, what does that mean? That means middle college. Is that the one you
Oh,
meant?
that's
No.
the middle college. Then it's
No.
the EXR. The EXR then.
And it's not here. It might just not be.
Yeah,
here.
it's not there yet.
Yeah, but Claudia, Claudia and Martha, to answer your question, the question will be, we also have to learn more about the specifications of a grant, right? And that will be a question for a grant manager. Can we buy, say for instance, office supplies with this grant? If the
No.
answer is, so if the answer is no, then we couldn't even look at this grant. This wouldn't even be an option for us, right? If we can buy, for instance, I see there's some software purchase here. So if that's allowable expense for this grant, then depending on how we're going to use this software, if it's for the Dean of Instruction, then we could move it from that goal that we had up here,
4320 or the,
EMB 20, right? EMB.
yeah. Mhm.
It was EMB and it was this one right here. So say for
Yeah.
instance, we determined that, okay, we have here 5,000. This is not a good combo, but we're going to use it for software, and we determine that software is an allowable expenditure under this grant. Then we can transfer from 4320 to the 5649 with the same goal, because we have to determine what is the software for. Is it going to be for administration or is it going to be for the instruction? If it's for instruction, then this is not good.
Okay, so would it be a good rule of thumb, Maria, would be to like maybe ask our, for me to reach out to either you or Anna, whoever oversees this, I guess this
Lottery.
STP, yeah. To ask you, hey, I'm thinking about buying this with this. What do you think? Can I use this? And then you guys would tell me no or yes. And then,
Right.
you know, act accordingly. Would you recommend that?
Yeah, because every grant, this grant and instructional equipment are very specific. So we have to make sure we follow the instructions from the agency. We can just, so that's why, like for instance, in instructional equipment, we cannot purchase instructional materials, right? So if you're unsure, you can always reach out to us, make sure that we're good, that that's an allowable expenditure, and then we can transfer the money. Because this is just like a placeholder right here. We can always transfer it, but we need to make sure that that's an allowable expense first.
So right now, as it sits right now, that whole budget string, it's just like you said, it's just a holding, kind of like a piggy bank. We have to. I'm gonna have to move it eventually too, if I want to use it.
If you need to use it, then yes, this is not a good combination right here. And let's also make sure why, right? Because the instructional goal doesn't pair up with the non-instructional goal doesn't pair up with the instructional object.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria.
Okay. So any other questions before I move to the next slide?
I went over it. We went over that already, Maria.
Yeah. So here's what I was talking. The Esmeralda talk about the 50% law. Here's the instructional. You go from 0 to 5,999. Non-instructional. So always remember that you can come back to this presentation and refer back. Okay. And here's 6,000 to 7,000. So now we have covered our item right here. Sorry, I have to go back and forth. So we covered these right here. Now we're gonna, really quick before I move on. This question always comes up with equipment versus supplies. So we have a flow chart that we have to follow to see determine what is an equipment, what is a supply. In general, the 6481 has $200 to $5,000. But more than that, let's think about this of how, if this item is going to break, will we replace it? Meaning we'll just buy another one, or we'll try to fix it. If it's something that we replace, then it's more considered as a supply. If it's something that we're going to try to repair it, then it's considered equipment. And sometimes this is confusing. So again, reach out to Anna and I, and we'll help you figure that out, because it can be confusing. But again, if we don't have the correct GL, your POs are just gonna be take longer. So that's what we're trying to help you with. Okay, so if you can determine, please reach out to us and we'll figure out together. Okay, so now next item I have is the budget and the financial summary. So let me go back and see. Okay, so what is the financial summary? What happened here? Okay, so financial summary is where we were just at. I'm gonna pull another grant. Again, I don't know the school, so I just do E. This is 1190. My project, I don't have to put it in, but my project year is always gonna be 0. I'm gonna call out this grant. And so this is my view financial summary screen. These two screens, view financial summary and view detail, is where you can get the most information out of Galaxy. Okay, anything you need is in those two screens. So if I say,
Maria, can you go back? So if you want to get the whole SPP, if you're running your SPP, just leave the object code blank. That way you're gonna get your expenses from the 1,000 object code to the 799. And also you're gonna get your 8,000 object codes, which is your revenue. So you'll see how much was allocated and how much you have received and how much you still have to bill the agency or work with your grants manager on that. So Maria is doing this right now from 1,000 to 799. When I do this, I always download everything and then I separate the revenue so I can see that it makes sense. Okay, go ahead, Maria.
Okay, so again, as I said in the other screen, you can have heard your description. So this program is called Uplift. You know, you can read in plain English what this means. If you ever need to have an object, what does 1219 mean? What does 3130 mean? You just click on this object code description and then you can see, okay, that means a state teacher's retirement, STIRS. So you know what the description of that object is. Another thing I also mentioned is you get all these columns are sortable. So you can click on any of them and whatever makes sense to you to see, however you want to see it. When I review BTs, I can already tell you, I usually sort by uncommitted to make sure you're covering all your negatives. So, you know, you can sort however you like. Another thing is these columns are also movable. So, I mean, this makes sense to me. I have my adopted budget, my revised budget, my actuals and my encumbrances and my uncommitted. But if you don't like it like that, you can always bring your uncommitted here or however you like to work. Okay.
Then you can download it to Excel.
Yes. Another thing is sometimes if you look at this, right, you see, well, I have $17,000 right here, uncommitted, or no, I move my uncommitted. See, that's why I'm used to seeing it one way. So and then you can also short them, make them smaller. So my uncommitted is 82,000, right? Keep in mind that your indirect charges are not part of your budget, right? Because that's something that the district has set aside that we know we're gonna have to be charging to the agency. It's just that we haven't been able to charge the full amount yet. So these 29,000 you have here, they're not really available for the grant to use. That's gonna be something that we're gonna charge as an indirect. So really you have 82 minus 29. Does that make sense? We're good? Okay. So this is the financial summary. If I wanna see, okay, well, I see here that I have a personnel charge here, 1219, and I have all the fixed costs related to that, right? And then I have also my 4,000s to my 7,000s. Well, if I wanna see what is the name of this person, who's charging here and how much is he charging here? I can go to the detail account and the detail is gonna give me exactly what is being charged there. Again, by detail, like its name says it. So if I go to 47 and say I don't wanna pull everything because it's gonna give me a lot of stuff, but I know that the major on these, it's the first object is a 1. You see how it's 1219? So I can do 1 and start. When I do that, I see who's being paid here. You see here, 13,901, that matches to 13,901. So this is just giving me the detail, the breakdown of that 13,000, who's being charged there. And again, you just open it here, and here's the faculty that is being charged here. Another question that I also get is, what is the TTS for this person? If it's somebody under your program, you will know it's this TTS right here, this 1470005. That's your TTS. And you can know that in the 2M, which is August payroll, this is how much that person was charged here. These columns are also sortable. So for me, for my own purposes, what I do is I sort them like that. That way all my actuals are together. So I can see my 2M, my 3M, my 4M, my 5M. I see them all together. And when I open, I see the name of that person. So I can see it's the same faculty that is being charged here all the months. Okay, and then in this column is the encumbrance. So how much we're gonna keep charging for this object until the year is over, the fiscal year is over. This also has the object code description, so I can always add that, and I can always take it to Excel. Okay, and if you ever need to do some more calculations, here's more friendly, maybe for me at least, it's more friendly to do it like this. So you can do anything you want in the Excel file that is gonna come up right now. Here's my Excel file, and then you can do whatever you like with it. Same thing with the, when you have to do a BT, right? So BTs, you're not gonna, you could be moving personnel charges for a grant, but mainly you're gonna be moving for 4,000 to 7,000, right? So then I would just change my query from 4,000 to 7,000. And then here's how you would know, well, I need to buy something in object 6481 that is gonna be 10,000 or let's say $5,000. This is not gonna be enough. So I need to move from one of these other objects to put in here the difference to make it to $5,000. So you can take it to Excel and do your calculations and work on your BT like that. And I think that's all I had for these screens. Is everybody okay with that? I'm gonna pause here, see if anybody has questions.
We go back to the presentation, Maria, to the.
Okay, we talk about these, we talk about these. Oh, this is, again, this is good to keep, for you to keep handy. This is how you call the RCOE help desk to be unlocked. I had to change my password yesterday and I'm still having trouble remembering it. So I have this number handy in case I check myself out, but don't log out. What you do is you enter the password wrong, just say cancel. And then that's like you get a freebie. You go back and it didn't count, that one that you hit wrong. If not, then at the third time, you're gonna be locked out. If you keep trying, it's gonna lock you out. But if you say, okay, the first one I got wrong, let me just cancel, that one didn't count. It's like you start over again. So have this number handy. This is the screens we just went over, right? This is what I just went over. The wildcards. Again, I used to do this. You probably know your schools. Because I don't know everybody's school, I just do the E. And then you can do this one too.
But if you're doing an SPP, I think it's better if you just do the SPP and leave and do the E for the school code, because you might have funds in more than one school code.
Yes, thank you. That's true, because some of these grants are very big and they impact many schools. So at the end of the day, the grant is the whole thing, not only one subset. We went over the adopted budget. So the adopted budget is how, you know, the Board of Trustees, how they approve the budget to be set up. And that gets updated in September.
Sometimes October, depending on how things are.
Yeah, but that's a number that is not gonna change throughout the year. So that's how we adopted, that's it. Like if we adopted 10,000, we adopted 10,000. That's never gonna change. What we change is the revised budget. So that's, if I say, well, I don't really need 10,000, we're really gonna need just 5. So that my revised budget will show that $5,000. And then these long-term is just, this just means what you spent. So your actuals, what you actually have spent. And then abatements, reduce the expenditures. And then the encumbrances are salaries, purchase requisitions, anything that is pending for Galaxy to be paid. And Galaxy knows that. With SPRs or with over counseling overload, Galaxy doesn't know that. So this column, the encumbrances will not be showing that because it doesn't, it's work as needed. So that's why Galaxy wouldn't know that. But for other items like requisitions, personnel, salaries, Galaxy knows, so it's encumbering for you. And then the rest is what you have left, the uncommitted. Okay, so we went over the sorting, the tax description. I show you guys the Excel, how to download it to Excel. And then in the detail account, you can also, just like we saw for the personnel, we show a TTS, we can do the same thing with requisitions. We can see requisition numbers or PO numbers. This is a screen. The view detail account. So for, for you guys, it's, in my opinion, it's easier to monitor budgets as they happen, right? So at the end of after each month, each payroll is posted, this is what we're recommending to do. Review your time and effort, look at your financial summary, what was charged, because we get paid once a month. So you will see who was charged under your grant. So it's just easier to find things like this versus trying to catch up at the end of the month, at the end of the year, when something was posted incorrectly, or this doesn't belong to my grant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you find something, contact us so that we can process whether it's a transfer of expenditures or a budget transfer, cover your negatives, make sure you're good. When you cover negatives, think about it until the end of the year. Don't just cover right now. Like I said, when I get, and you guys know, because you already know me, when I get a BT, I sort. And if I see that you're not covering another one that is negative, I reach out to you. Because I know you guys are trying to work on a requisition, but let's just think of the grant as a whole. Let's just try to fix it. More, not even for that moment, but what else do I need for until June 30th when the year is over? Or another thing also, you know what? I noticed that this is, they always put 10,000 in, say, office supplies, and that's not what we needed. We need it for software. Then tell us, this should be a permanent transfer. Then we do a permanent transfer. Then next year, the 10,000 is going to be in the software. It's not going to be in the office supplies. So let's think about ways that we can be more proactive, and that way eliminates more work for all of us, right? So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I thought you meant less work. We don't want that. We don't want more work.
So yeah, if you see something that it should be a permanent transfer, let's fix it. That way, go years forward, you don't have to worry about moving those 10,000 from the office supplies to the software every year. Okay, and then I think that's it for this section right here, Esmeralda. And
Okay.
Again, I want to pause, make sure everybody's good. Do you have any questions?
So it's me?
Yeah, it's you with the Adobe Sign forms.
Okay.
Let me go stop sharing, if I can find my stop sharing right here. Oh, and I have a bunch of stuff in the I hope I cover everybody. I have some messages on the direct chat. I don't know if you guys, if you had a question, can you please tell me right now, because there's a lot of messages I have on my direct chat and I didn't read them.
You're fine. You're
okay.
Fine.
I have
Okay,
a question. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
For the permanent transfer, that's a new term for me. So when we're doing, I guess, our budget transfer, Excel spreadsheets, do we indicate there to business services that we want a particular object code to become a permanent transfer? Or maybe I could just talk one-on-one with Maria about it more. Thank you.
In the form that we had the budget transfer, it says they're one time or permanent. So that's what you will determine if it's
Oh, the form it indicates. Okay, I was
yes.
thinking Excel spreadsheets. Okay,
yes.
got it.
Okay, Esmeralda.
Okay, hold on one second. Trying to find it. It's on files. Let me share. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure that you have been trained on how to add forms for signatures to Adobe Sign, right? The presentation is here. Let me find it here. But in reality, what we need you to do is when you're ready to set up any form, just go to the to the approval flow that we have in here to make sure that you're adding everybody. And I know it might look like it's excessive, but it's important that we include everybody. Has anybody need training on Adobe Sign on how to set up a form, add the signatures and all that? I'm pretty sure you can probably teach me how to do it at this point. But so this is a presentation anyways, if you just want to go in and take a look. You sign in through the app, and you set it up in Adobe Sign in this way, and you put in your signers and what order you want them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure you CC whoever is on the approval flow document, attach the form and send it through. So what it's going to be here, I'm not going to go over. I know we did this before and you know everything. This presentation has the approval flow, but this might be outdated because as we see things, we go back and change it. So please make sure you're using the latest that we have in here in the Norco College approval flow document. So it's pinned to the top. You have it here too, it's the same one. So whatever forms and please go back and look, okay? We have issues, for example, on the, what was that? The IER form. So everything is here. Where's the IER form? I know it was here.
Is it in the bottom, Esmeralda? Down?
No, I think, hold on, let me go back. I think we put it in here with the IERs. Sorry, see, I can't even find it. So these are the budget forms, and it tells you the approval process, right? For Fund 11, Fund 12. So what we're doing right now, Fund 11, Maria is the last person that gets it because she's the one that will enter it in Galaxy, but you don't have to, you have to follow this order. So you will have to put Maria in number 2, okay? So she will review it before entering it, but it has to go through the whole process. So when it finalizes, she'll get the final form and then she'll enter it in Galaxy. And we still have another step that Christina does, but she doesn't need to be included in the form. Okay. For Fund 12, we want you to follow the list that we have here. We have a grant list for who's overseeing which SPP. So we were just looking at 735, right? Lottery. So this is Anna. We have Anna. Dr. Lee is the one that oversees, and he's also the VP of these funds. And just if you don't know, you will look at your function, your SPP, and see if Maria or Anna has it, and you will contact them. And as I said, it has the description, who's the manager and who's the VP. If anything changes, let us know, because sometimes we know that the assignments change, and we need to know so we can make the change as well in here, and also in Galaxy. It's important to know that whoever is overseeing this is also included in the Galaxy approvals. Okay, so that's for Fund 11 and 12, right? For the IERs, what I was telling you is we just include everybody here. We don't copy accounts payable all the time. And there is a a reason why. So we've been working with the district in setting up the processes. This is a process that works with us. First of all, we would like not to have any itemized expense reimbursements. It's better to have a PO in place before initiating any purchase. If anybody needs this, it's an emergency, it's the weekend, or it needs to happen, make sure that your area VP approves the use of personal funds. I will discourage that because it takes a lot of time to get your pay back, okay? And especially if it's a big amount, not the VPs, but a manager might use their personal credit card and they have to wait to be paid. And it's, we just want you to plan ahead and try to buy your items that you need. And I know emergencies happen, but please, please, please go ahead and ask your VP for approval before this happens, okay? Then when the form is filled out, this is the process that we need. Do not include accounts payable here. The last person should be Christina, the budget analyst, okay? Invoices too, sometimes you don't need, I mean, accounts payable will send it to you. You just need the signature for the VP or the manager. And you can copy Ana. And in this case, because there are not a lot of signatures, you can do it via email. So you don't necessarily have to do everything with Adobe Sign, as long as the invoice is signed by the approver, the manager that is in charge of those funds. Okay. Any forms that we have, if you don't see the approval flow here, let me know. As we utilize more forms, we try to put them in here as well. And whenever we change something, we try to have a date as well. So we went through this. This is the approval process that's on the presentation. And these are the forms for HR. Okay, so all the form title is here. Oops, sorry. Okay, so the form title is there. I don't wanna click it right now. I don't know what I did. Div pay is here. So that's the name of the form, and that's how you go back and set up your approval flow in Adobe. Concur approvals, also here. I'm gonna go through this at the end, but I just want you to know everything is here. And you're probably saying, okay, but who is the person who you're just giving me titles? So for district, we have district contacts here. So you see who the person is that you have to add to the approval flow. Have payroll, the budget analyst, AP, and we have HR as well. The things might change, and we try to get information from the district and try to keep it updated, but things might happen. And if you know anything, please let us know so we can go back and change it too. Okay, sometimes we don't know.
Esmeralda, I think we have two hands raised, Monica and Martha.
Okay, go ahead, Monica.
Hello, ladies. Good morning. Thank you for this presentation. I'm really getting some nice tips from here.
Okay.
My question is in the HR forms for classified.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently submitted one for a differential pay, and Anna had asked me on why I didn't include, go up, it's up, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Anna had asked me why I had stopped at Sylvester and not included Yami and copied the payroll person, because
Mhm.
the one I had done previously, both Yami and the payroll person came back and told me that they don't accept these forms, that they will get it from Sylvester. So I think this blue section
Mhm.
kind of clarifies that, but it conflicts when you have the Yami and payroll person to be acceptor and copied.
Mhm. And we're trying to get clarification from HR on this.
Okay.
I think there was, I mean, Sylvester is here covering for Susan, right? That was here.
Correct.
And that was the last person for us. Then we started to add Jamie, because I think that's the next person. But let us find out exactly. We don't want to create more work or confusion, so we'll figure it out and fix it.
Okay. And then my second question is I had just submitted a performance review, like a 2-month a promotion review, and I didn't see who to send that to. And when I sent it to Sylvester as an acceptor, he wrote me back and said to send it to Dawn for the signature of Tammy Few. So
yeah, that's what we have here.
you do. Oh, I didn't even see. Where was wait, where was that?
It's here, classified employee evaluation.
Oh,
yeah.
I must have. How recent was that put on there? Because I looked and I didn't even see it. How funny.
Yeah. So and the thing is, I think what we need to do is stop it here, because I don't know who this person is.
Right now it's Tammy Few.
And let me double check, because I don't know. What I do is we send it to him and then he will send it forward.
Yeah, he clicked it, he sent it back to me and told me to send it to Dawn.
So send it to,
because I stopped it at him. I put him as the acceptor because obviously I didn't see this. So I had him as the acceptor, and then he emailed me back and told me to send it to Dawn.
Yeah, but we don't have Sylvester here, so it goes from Dawn to Tammy, I think. So if it ends with him, he will send it to her. And I didn't get clarification on this. It's just, I just did what the form has.
Right.
Okay. And but at least if we add him, we'll be covered.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. So let me put a question mark here. Go back. Any other questions about the approval process?
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Can you go back to, I think it was the budget transfer. The budget transfer, go up a little bit to the, because you know what I was doing, and I'm glad that you clarified it, to Fund 11. I was copying at the end, I was copying Christina. So you're saying don't do that, right? Don't copy Christina because she doesn't.
No, not for not for Fund 11.
Okay, all right,
So
then I won't do that.
You still want to put Maria here, not at the end, even though she's the one that will enter it in Galaxy.
Yeah.
But she needs to review it. Okay.
Yeah. So okay. All right. Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Esmeralda.
Okay. So any other questions on the approval process? Maybe I can talk about Concur since we're here. Maria, can you show us the agenda?
Yes.
Let me just stay here, okay? So I think two things that we have to keep in mind. The TR and the expense report, they're not talking to each other, okay? So when you do a TR, we always have to go into the expense report. I mean, we can initiate the expense report through the TR, but they're not talking to each other. So that's why we have to add the agenda, and we have to verify the accounts and add everything else. Right now, what we're doing is and I know we're not back 100% on campus and traveling is not happening, but we have a few credits in Concur. So even though you select book with Concur, book online with Concur, you're gonna be sent to book with an agent, okay? Until we use all those credits, they're gonna make the change. Just in case that you're doing something and you see that that message, please call them and book it. And then I think at this point it will be better to use option 2 instead of option 1 until we know that we use all the credits. That way we don't have any issues. Okay. And this is just, you don't have to do anything. This is already embedded in the approval process in Concur. This is just to show you how it goes, okay? But you don't have to do any approval flows in Adobe or anything. This is already set up in Concur. If you see any issues or if it's not going to the correct person, let us know. Right now, there is no person in the district that is helping us to correct approval issues with the approval process. So we're trying to work with Lenny and myself and our team, Anna and Maria, to fix any issues before we go to John. John or Misty will be the ones that will take care of that. But in the meantime, if you see any issues, please let us know, okay? Maria, can you show the agenda? I think we wrote down the
Yes. Do you see what screen there you see?
Yeah, the agenda, it's
Okay.
fine. So so always verify the available funds to book the conference. If not available funds, then initiate a BT, okay? And why? Because you're gonna be able to enter that requisition in Concur, and Concur is not gonna stop you. It's not talking to Galaxy. But you're gonna have an issue when it's not gonna stop, it's gonna go through the whole approval process. But then when we go into Galaxy and the expense reports are prepared, then you have negative amounts. It's important that you have the money up front and you know how the travel is being paid and then move forward. Okay, so there was a reason why we didn't want the travel request to be stopped at that time, because we don't want to stop the approval process. It has to go fast, but it doesn't mean that you can do it without having funds in the account. And when you go to the TR, and just to let you know, we're gonna have another Concur training soon, because I'm not going to be able to go over all the questions probably, or refreshing, or things that you might have questions on in 10 minutes. Okay, so if you need training, whenever we send that link, please register. Hopefully we'll do it next month. When you itemize expenditures in your TR, I mean, when you do your TR, please make sure you itemize your expenses. I saw one TR that it had $6,000 for conferences, hotel, food, and everything in one place. So that it's difficult to reconcile when you're doing your expense report, especially if you're using the Amex Go card. You have the receipts that need to be attached to every expense. So it's very important that you itemize your expenses in the TR. So the book with Concur, as I said right now, instead of using book with Concur, use book with agent. Okay. Make sure you add the agenda, and if you have any travel requests that were canceled, I mean, okay, so let me go back. if you enter a travel request and then for some reason the event is canceled, but you didn't pay anything, you didn't pay for registration, you didn't pay for the hotel or anything, then go ahead and cancel that TR. But if for some reason you pay for, or you register for that conference and now it's been canceled and you're not gonna have those funds back, or you're not gonna get a refund, then you have to initiate an expense report and allocate those expenses. Even though the event did not happen, you already incurred those expenses. Also make sure that the TR is fully approved before registering. Okay, sometimes, especially if you put a book outside of Concur, you will be able to register because you're doing it outside of Concur, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it if the TR is not fully approved. Okay, just keep in mind that make sure that it's fully approved before you do any registration, especially because of the cancellation. You want to make sure that if it's canceled, you're not going to have any issues to submit that expense report. And same thing, what I was telling you at the beginning, the expense report and the travel request, they're not talking. So when you start doing your expense report, you need to add the agenda. The district hasn't been very, picky, I could say, about the agenda right now, because most of the events are happening online and there is no food included. So they're not really asking for it. Whenever I see them, I attach it from your TR. I have to go to the TR and attach it. But if you can please do that at the beginning, that will be great, because the agenda that you had at the beginning of the event might not be the same at the end of when you're doing when you're actually taking the training. Things might change, and as I said, especially if it's a face-to-face, they might change too. And accounts payable needs that to make sure that the meals that are included in the expense report are not covered by the conference. And also, when you're doing your expense report, make sure you attach the Amex Go receipts to the expenditure report. I think I can go, I can, probably Maria, can you pull out a Concur and we can show an example? And see probably Dr. Lee's. I know that he had some outstanding
Okay, I'm going in.
okay. So for
It doesn't want to go. What's going on?
Concur is not working?
It doesn't let me go down on my apps. Oh, there it is. Okay. So Concur is right here. What happened?
Do you have any questions about Concur? Anything that you want to know?
So you want me to go emulate Dr. Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Please.
It's very slow for some reason.
Can you click on the expense tab at the top?
So there's a question, Esmeralda. It says,
Okay.
will the Concur training be offered college-wide?
Yes. So you see here, Below where it says available expenses, you have all this. These are all Amex Go receipts for the December 17. If you click on the left where it says all cards, below available receipts, if you have more than one card, it will tell you there. But in this case, all these are the Amex Go. If you click on Amex Go, you get the same amount of transactions. So what you do, select the United, the first one, Maria, select it and see how that blue button comes up. So click on that and it says move to a new report. But if you already initiated a report, it's gonna show you the report too. So
Yeah.
make sure that you don't have anything here. There's nothing here. Especially when there are registrations that could have been paid by purchasing, then I wouldn't know. I wouldn't see a receipt. Usually, if you have an email, you attach it as a receipt, but the confirmation registration has to say who paid for it. Or it's very important for us to have it too, because we have to reconcile the Amex Go card. Okay, so it's just a way for you to go back and make sure that you have this. You know that you can initiate an expense report by clicking on, if you go to request, Maria.
And the reason why it didn't say add to an existing report is because we didn't have any open reports. That's why. If not,
So
then
in this case, it looks like he doesn't have any active reports. So if you go to view on the left, you can put all select all requests, and then you see all the requests that that we have here, and it should be. You can click on the expense link to create a report. Okay, let's don't do it. Let's just, I know everybody knows how to do it, but that's how you start a report. I'm just concerned about those transactions because I don't see anything here.
Claudia is here. I think those are upcoming, right? He hasn't traveled yet. They were booked, but it's not the conference day yet, correct?
That's correct. It takes place next week.
Okay, okay. So that's what you're gonna start. Is that, when is that, Claudia? The 23rd?
Probably this one right here. Oops. 22 to 26, huh, Claudia?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this one didn't have the link if you went back. So it didn't have the link, but you can start a expense report by just creating a new report. So if you click create new report below on the app there. So I think we can go over this training in a little more detail. I just wanted to just emphasize on those little things that we need to keep in mind when we're submitting the request. And if you have anything that, if you see that you have two expenses for the same date, if you're not using one, please delete them. When Maria runs a report, it looks like we have duplications, and we're trying to reconcile, and it's more difficult because we don't know if that's a true report or not, and we have to go back and look at the detail. So if you start a new expense report, attach everything and submit it so it doesn't look like it's not complete. Okay. I think we also wanted to emphasize that when you request purchasing to upload funds to your account, to the Amex Go card for that particular travel, include whatever the traveler is using for that Amex Go card for. So if they're gonna pay hotel and registration and meals, make sure you include that amount into the request, okay? The mileage is paid separate. It's the check. It's a check that is coming from the district to pay back for the mileage that the traveler draw. It has to be included in the TR report, but please do not use the Amex Go card, or tell your travelers do not use the Amex Go card to buy gasoline and put it in their card. Okay, it's very important. It's not for that purpose, and the district doesn't allow it. So we have to pay by mileage, and it has to be submitted in the TR. I mean, in the expense report as well. Okay. If you don't have any questions, then we're gonna continue with purchasing. I think if you go up.
Yes. I was just gonna say really quick, Esmeralda, about these the food and hotel folio. Concur asked you to detail the hotel folio. It's just basically how much is the rate per night and how much are the taxes. So it's really user friendly. Once you add a hotel folio, it will guide you through how to fill it out. It would ask you how much is parking, how much is tax number 1, how much is tax number 2. Concur needs that. So just make sure that if you have a hotel, it's detailing a hotel folio.
Yes, thank you, Maria.
And with that,
and the food too. So if you have a food expense using Amex Go, that's not itemized. So you have to attach the itemized report, and why the district doesn't pay for wine. So they just need it for auditing purposes to make sure that they're not paying for wine. Okay. What was the other one?
it would have to be itemized. So it would have to say if it's lunch, dinner, breakfast. It has so you have to select the category and add the receipt of that purchase.
Yeah, and usually when you upload the receipt, Concur will help on that. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and then next we have Ana. So I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay.
Ana, are you okay with the presentation or?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up mine. I haven't opened because it's just a couple slides.
Okay.
Are we doing okay, or do you need a break?
Do you guys need a break? I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna be a little short because I know everybody's familiar with purchase requisitions. I just want to remind certain things that we need to think about when we're submitting those. So do you guys want to take a break, a 10-minute break or a 5-minute break?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? No?
Yes.
Sure, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. We'll be back at
10:39. Yes.
10:40. Okay.
About who enters the TR on Galaxy. The TR is entered on Concur, and then Concur sends the data to Galaxy, and that's how Galaxy encumbers it. So that's how we start travel request encumbers. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I think, is everybody back? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go over a little bit about the purchasing, purchase requisitions, and I just wanna go over the kind of requisitions there are. And I think a lot of you are already familiar with this. Modified purchase requisitions, which are the one-time POs, one-time requisitions. And in this ones is mostly the object codes from the 5s to the 6s. The modified purchase requisition type A is only used for the contracts. This is the type that Esmeralda was talking about for the contract transmittal forms. And then it's the modified open purchase requisition, which is the open POs. And the open POs are mostly in the 4s. And then lastly are the modified internal transfer purchase requisition. which are the catering or for warehouse items that you do. And then one of the things, my next slide is about what to do to expedite purchase requisitions. I know that a lot of us, sometimes they're on hold because they don't have budget or because the budget code is not correct. We always want to make sure that there's budget available so that this doesn't happen. We also want to verify that the requisition matches the amount the proposal matches the requisition amount and descriptions in the requisition. We also need to remember to follow up on Galaxy approvals. This is very important because, like I said, so we go to the screen and we check where they're at, we could see if they're on hold because they need some kind of budget transfer or anything else. And another thing is that we need to find out if insurance is needed and requested it from the vendor. And mostly this is for the vendors who are going to do some kind of work at the campus. I think are the ones that require an insurance from the vendor. And again, I think before submitting a requisition, we have to kind of think about what Maria and Esmeralda went over. First, we need to see what are we buying? So with this is what fund or object code can we use? Another thing is, first, I would say first know what funding you will be using. That will be the first one. And then use those, what are you going to be using those funds for? So then after that, you could determine the object code and you could go back into the chart of accounts. And that will help you a lot. And if you have any questions, you could always just contact Maria or myself on that. Also, you need to go to the financial summary to check your balance, just like how Maria showed you guys. If it's negative, you can go ahead and process a budget transfer. Only if it's a type B, then you could go ahead and do it in Adobe Sign. If it's a type A, you could actually do it in your requisition in the internal notes. Also, then I'm going to show you how to do a requisition in Galaxy.
Can I just say something about the internal notes?
Yes.
If we put a budget transfer in the internal notes, make sure that Maria or Ana are set up as approvers in that Galaxy requisition. Otherwise, they won't see it until it probably gets to Christina, and it's going to be just waiting. So what we're doing is we're trying to work with budget to add Ana and Maria to the requisition so they can see, they can review them before they move forward. That is not done yet, but in the meantime, if you are doing that internally, then just make sure you send us an email, okay? That way we can work on that before it gets to Christina. Go ahead, Ana, sorry.
Okay. So this is my modified purchase requisition screen. So when you go to the purchase to the Galaxy, you actually have to go to purchase requisition management. And in there, you will find the different links that you need to go to process either an open requisition or a one-time requisition or the internal transfer. In this case, I'm going to go to the modified purchase requisition just to show you guys an example. And I actually create an example for you guys. And here, actually, you could, when you go and create a requisition, here you select when it's a contract, this is where you select the type A requisition. And since this is a one-time, we're going to select the R type of requisition. Another feature that you could select, you could also use the copy form feature. So when you have a requisition that's very similar, and then you're just thinking, oh, I'm just going to change the description, you could go ahead and select and use this copy from. This is a very easy feature, and that's actually the one that I'm going to use. So then you go to add and see it takes you to it created requisition already. I created this one as an example for you guys. And so here you can see here where you're gonna put your manager, whoever's requesting for you to submit the requisition. Then here is the vendor type. So in this vendor type here, you could, you could write the first 3 letters of the vendor, and it comes up right here. You select it. Here you also have to remember to put your ship to location. So this is basically your department. For me is Norco Business Services, and that's why I selected this option. And then I'm the one that's creating the requisition. So I go ahead and write my name in here, and also my contact phone number. So after that, we go ahead and move to the items. And this is the other section that I was talking about, in which we have to match the proposal to the description and the item amounts in the purchase requisition. And this is very important because the amount, this one says a total $434.59. It has to match the same amount in your proposal. So you have to kind of take your time on doing that. So here I go ahead and wrote the name, which are the computers, the description of the item, the quantity we're purchasing, and the price and the amount. Some even have a freight, and if it does, then you select yes, and then you write the amount. In this case, this one's taxable, so we put yes. Some items are non-taxable, so we put no, and doesn't add the tax to it. And here you could also add delivery instructions. Sometimes this section is very important because sometimes like the warehouse doesn't know where to take the item or whose it is. So this is very helpful for them. And then we go to the notes. The notes we want to, in the internal notes, we want to be very descriptive of what we're purchasing. So in this case, we're saying we're buying Lenovo. These are the types. This is the numbers. And actually, we even added a reason or who is it going to go to. So that's very helpful for us. And another thing that you can do that I was mentioning, if it's going to be a type A budget transfer, let's say you went to this line, to the 6485 line right here, and it's negative. So you're going to have to do a budget transfer. And then you actually have funds in the same object codes that you could transfer from. So then you could actually add a budget transfer in the internal notes, and these are type A, meaning that this is from a 6 to a 6. So we're transferring from 6481 to 6485. So this is a very, very good feature, a good thing to do. So that way you don't have to go and submit an Adobe Sign separately. Does anybody have any questions? No?
So Anna, so that's for the beginning, right? That's when you initiate a requisition.
Yes, that's when you initiate a requisition.
So can you show us, can you add an item? So let's say you got a quote, it's not the same as you had last year. It's a different quote, it has an extra item. Can you show us how to add an item?
To the proposal that to the requisition that I was doing?
Yes.
Okay, so let me share with you guys.
And I think Monica has her hand up.
Okay, so right here, you actually could add an item. So I could go into add a line here in my screen, and then see I could go ahead and put the item, the other item that we're buying. And again, you have to be descriptive. And this one is just an example, but so here we say printer, we say 1, we say it's 150. And then here you could, you select if it's each, a bundle. It gives you all these options right here that you could actually choose from, okay? This one will just do a bunch, okay? And then so you save it and it adds the line. And then you kind of like follow the same format. You add an account here and you add your other line that you're going to use for this printer. And you could actually even use a different line or a different funding line. Let's say somebody else is going to wants to pay for the printer, but it goes with this computer, but you want to use a different funding line. You could actually add it here as well. And who had
Okay.
questions?
Thank you. Monica.
Hello. Okay, so my question goes, and I know things change all the time, but on the internal notes, Anna, where you had like the description, the model number, and all that stuff written in for what you were purchasing, the line. I remember at one point when I first got hired, they wanted that information in the internal notes, but then at one point we were told they didn't want redundancy. So when it's in the description for the actual line, that it wasn't necessary to have all that information again in the internal notes. So I just wanted to clarify.
We're actually there. Sometimes as the description in the items is not very specific. Like for this, in this case, we have computers and we know, to Lenovo. So that's very like self-explanatory. But sometimes certain items like they don't have a description that you could really, can tell. And they usually, I know the district right now, they're asking us to kind of be very specific on the items that we're buying. Like if we need to put more information or let's say I'm buying these 2 monitors like right here for Sean and Davis, like that additional information is very helpful.
Yeah,
And,
that information for sure, where it has like more detail of where it's actually going to go. But the ones up above where it has like the manufacturing part, all that number, because that I already put all that in the items in under the description. So I'm just wanting to clarify that if that's okay to.
It's okay to do it like this. I know we've been getting.
Yeah, or leave it out. That's fine. I understand. Yeah. So if you put it on your items already, you don't have to duplicate it, but the quote number could be.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But this is really important right here. The quote number and the customer number. And sometimes if you want them to email the quote to a specific person, you could go ahead and also write that in the notes. Say, please send PO, PO to
who the contact person is for the vendor.
The email.
Specific, So I know I was always told that whatever is in the internal notes stays within the college, and then whatever we want the vendor to also see when they get a copy of the PO to make sure that's in the external notes.
Yes, that is correct. Right. So they only see this section right here. They don't see this right here. And that's the reason why we put the BTs, internal BTs right here, because they don't see that part.
Correct. Yeah. And then the other note that I know where we're told was that there's no need to copy what's in the internal and then paste them over to the external. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think the main thing about requisition is to be very specific on the items you're purchasing, being very mindful of, if the line has any funds, because it will not get approved if it doesn't. Also, like what Maria was explaining about the budget lines, the GL accounts, if we're using the correct goal, the object code. Also, if we're using restricted funding, to also kind of go by the guidelines, because each grant has their own guidelines, and kind of question like, oh, well, can we actually purchase this under this funding line? Those are the main things that we need to remember. And I know that we've been having a lot of issues with that. Also, following up on your requisitions, following up on the approvals, because I know that, if you want something done and approved and you want a PO number right away, you need to kind of check in go to your requisition, you go to this screen, so where you could see new purchase requisitions, and there you could see the status of your requisition.
Anna?
Yes.
Can you go to requisition 134517? 517. 134517.
Oh, 517. So in this one, you could see approvals right here, and you could see this one's on hold. It says as pending BT and it's dated 2/15. So that means Christina reviewed on 2/15 and she put that there needs a budget transfer. So
this is how they look after you submitted it. You can look at the items that you're buying. If you click on items, account distribution, notes, approvals, and the cost distribution. So if you click on cost distribution, You can see the account. What is the account that you're using? And that's pretty much what we see. When I get this and I'm ready to approve, I go to cost distribution, I see the account, and then I go to the items and see what they're buying, and then look at the notes and check the budget and all that before we approve it. In this case, what you need to do after you submit it, you need to be looking at the approvals and see if you where is it, and follow up with that person. As I said, Galaxy is not going to send us an email saying Christina went in and put a note. So we need to go back and take a look at what we did. And I think, Melanie, did you submit the BT for this?
No, I just saw it late in the day yesterday, and that's when I told you today, hey, if we want to use this as an example, we can, because I haven't done it yet.
Okay. So yeah, there is no internal notes for this budget transfer, so we need to go ahead and submit the budget transfer.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you have already submitted a budget transfer in Adobe Sign, just go ahead and add it in the internal notes. BT in process in Adobe Sign, submitted on 2/17/22, something like that. So that way she already knows that the BT is already coming her way, and she won't hold it.
Okay. Anna, there is a question from Denise. Could you share how to save favorites in the account distribution feature?
Favorites.
I was gonna also add, sorry, Esmeralda, really
Go ahead.
before we move to from this purchasing items thing, I wanted to also note that if say you're buying a big equipment, and for that big equipment to work, you also need cabling. So you're gonna use all, they work as a unit. So everything's gonna be under Object 6481. Please note in here in the internal notes, items work as a unit, therefore I'm capitalizing under 6481. Because if not, I'm gonna ask you, then somebody else might be asking you. So if something works as a unit and that's why you're using the same object, then note that in the internal notes. That way you're preventing yourself from people asking you, and it's just better. We all know it. Okay, they work together. That's why, even though there are 5 items, that's why we're putting them all under the same object.
Yeah, we don't want to assume that there are separate supplies that you're buying. If it's separate, then it has to be
a different object.
Coded under a 4690, right? But
Yeah,
4590. But if it's part of it, if it's part of the equipment, then it goes into the equipment account.
Yeah, just wanted to know that, and just note it in internal notes. That way, like I said, it speaks for itself. Nobody's going to come and ask you, oh, why do you use 6481 on all 3 lines? It's because they work as a unit. Just wanted to add that. Okay, I'm going to mute myself again.
Okay, so and let me know, because I haven't really used this feature that much. So if anybody else, just let me know. So I know you have this feature right here at favorite, and you could add different accounts into, or different lines to your favorites, so you could just reuse them when you do a requisition. So let me see. Not working. So do you, Maria, have done favorites? Because I haven't really done that much favorites.
No, I haven't. But what I'm thinking is just by looking at the screen, you had to probably add them first, right? So you would have your favorites, and then you can select from that. That's when you add favorites, you don't have any, because you don't have favorites added.
Yeah. I saw.
But I don't.
Has anybody done it before? See, here's the also the modify users account favorites, but I don't have any. So well, we'll get back to you. I'll send you guys how to do it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And then the account distribution is right there on the top. That's what the other side of Denise question. Right. Which there, one? Account distribution. So right under the Galaxy logo with the Galaxy little
To the right.
on the top, the other side.
To your right, Anna.
Okay.
So you see how it says there account distribution?
Mhm.
A little more, like right under the logo of Galaxy in the corner.
Oh,
Yeah,
right here.
right there.
Okay, right
Yeah.
here.
So here, sometimes what I've noticed is sometimes we copy requisitions from the past, and what happens is we update that budget string in the items, but the account distribution remembers the old funding line that was put in here. So what I ask before I approve is make sure you go to the account distribution here and you have it matched to your items. That's why I sometimes stop it, because I don't want anybody to get confused in here. I don't know what grant is this one, 81. So say you have your items in 81 and then your account distribution says 260 because you copy it from HERF. That's great, we copy it, but let's update this account distribution. That way nobody gets confused that it's also 81 here.
Yeah, like you mean right here when we go here?
Yes. So
sometimes it's incorrect, right? It doesn't match what you wrote.
So when I approve my recs, I make sure that this is cohesive. This account distribution is cohesive to the items that we're outlining. And if not, this is how we change it. Because if you copy it from another rec, it's going to carry over that account distribution from the other rec that you copy from. So then here you can put it, okay, Fund 12, 1190, whatever, 1190, the grant is 081 and the object is the same one. I don't know if Denise, are you good with that for the account distribution, or do you have?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight the fact that you can use the account distribution. If you have a lot of items, that you can fill that out at the beginning and it will just update each item. You don't have to enter it in every time. And then also for the favorites, if you go to the navigation menu under purchasing system and purchase requisition management, there's a user security and approvals. So again, this is if you have a budget that you use a lot, you can create your favorites and name them, and then they'll just show up. So you can choose from them when you're creating your requisitions. It just makes it a little faster.
So you have to set it up here first. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. You add however many I have several that I choose from, so you could, I don't think there's a limit.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's a good feature. We'll have it already for our next training, for sure. Anybody else have any questions? No? Okay, so I think pretty much everybody, I think Esmeralda and Maria went over all the object codes, how to come up with them. I know that is everybody can see my screen right now? The TCP, this one's also another is one of the Excel spreadsheets that you could also use for positions. You know, you could use the TCP. I know that a lot of the managers have that. I know that you sent it, right, Esmeralda?
I think we're looking at Galaxy still.
Oh, Galaxy, sorry.
So those are also in the A teams.
In the A teams. So I know that we get a lot of questions, general questions about different positions, and then this is very useful. You just select the position, the step if you already know, and it gives you a calculation for the whole cost, including fixed costs and health and welfare. So yeah, anything else? Does anybody have questions or have any comments?
Can I just show you where the TCP and TCO are? If you can stop
okay.
sharing. I think we're almost done. So it's here in the 8 teams. It's part of the budget. And here is the TCO, the total cost of ownership, and the TCP, the total cost of position. So the TCO is when we have a new budget, a new program, we can add also utilities and buildings and equipment. This one I think is the one that we use the most when we need a calculation. So this is, we have instructions on how to use the book, but it's really easy. So you find the position. This is a classified position. It's a confidential position. Certificated administrator, classified manager, full-time faculty, and part-time faculty. Okay, we also have counselors, librarians, and then short-term non-classified hourly employees. So you can find the position, okay, whatever position you're trying to find. If this person is being paid 50%, 30%, you can change that here. And it's going to be calculated. You might not know what the step where that person, at what step that person is at, but you can figure out on you know, going into the detail in your budget in Galaxy as well. But you can change that here. So depending on where that person is and the retirement code that we're using. So it's pretty easy. This is general. It's not specific to the person. It's specific to the position. So we have a person that it's been here. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're spending $36,000 in health and welfare. It all depends on the amount of dependents and the type of retirement, type of health service provider that they have. Okay, so this is all just general for new positions, but at least it gives you an idea on how much it will cost. Same thing for confidentials. You do the same thing for any positions that you have. And this has the current 21-22 salary schedule attached. So it's up to date. And here you can change, or you can use it for part-time faculty as well, depending on the hours. So you know that 1 unit or 18 hours of lecture is equal to 1 unit, right? So if we have, that's pretty much what we pay for one LAG, one unit of class, okay? And but in this case, if you have more questions about specific, I know that usually we do it for specific part-time faculty, the rate might be different. So this is just general for when you want to just have a rough idea of a budget. Okay, that's where it is. And especially when you have short-term employees, you don't know how much it costs, you can come here and find out, okay, how many hours they're working, and then you can come up with the estimation. Okay, so any questions? Everything is here. I think what we're trying to do, instead of having information in the website and in the ASUG, in business services and everything, we're bringing the information to you so you can have it all in one place. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
I was just gonna say that if anybody has questions, please work with Anna or I. We're here to support you. We're here to help you out. Sometimes we ask a lot of questions. Don't take it personal. It's because we don't want your PO to be delayed later on. So we're trying to catch it early on so that your requisition can be finalized and your items can be delivered good. So that's what we're here for.
Thank you. We went over. I thought that we were not going to use the 2 hours, but we did. I think this was very good. And it was nice to see everybody. Let me put my camera on now. You can see me. Okay.
Thanks, ladies. This is very informative.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll try to keep doing this because I think it's important that we keep talking. I know Maria and Anna are very good in having meetings with each department or managers of the grants and all that. But I think it's important to know, you know, what the process is and if anything has changed. And sometimes you're talking to the district and you might hear something different than what we're telling you. Please let us know, because sometimes the communication is not that great. So if you know anything, we want to know, and then we can fix our Adobe Sign or anything. And there might be things I might have to say, no, I'm sorry, that's not how we do it. It's and just keep us in the loop if you hear anything. Okay. But thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.